Okay, it's going.
Okay, looks like you're good. All right, gentlemen, have a great podcast. I look forward to watching it.
Okay.
Take
All right.
care.
Oh, you're out. Okay. No, he's out. All
He's
right.
out.
So, all right. Welcome, Steve, to I guess Tiny Talks, or where we're going at right now. But as I said before, this is just a get to know the candidates. It's not. We're going to ask questions. You're going to talk about what you want to talk about. Really, to let the residents or ratepayers of Tiny get to know you and what you're standing for. So, to give it a start, why don't you give us an idea of why you're running and what your thoughts are on Tiny in the next 4 years?
Okay, thanks, Steve and Tiny2026 for having me tonight. Why I'm here and why I'm running. Basically, it's time for us to get back to basics. Um, the last 4 years, we've seen 35% tax increases. Council not listening to the people, out of control spending on things, and we're not looking after our core services. So those are the things I'm looking to address. Like I said, it's time to get back to basics and stop all this other nonsense.
Okay, so we had a bunch of questions that were answered. We'll just go through the topics in a general high end level, and you can give us your thoughts on that.
Okay.
So again, there's questions about you're doing this. Do you have any experience in governmental core competencies and leadership? What have you done in the past that leads you here?
So I haven't done anything on a municipal level as of yet. I did run in the last election, and for the past 4 years, I've been trying to make it to every council meeting and committee meetings and to learn more about it. But I do have lots of core leadership training uh, through my different business aspects and university training that I do. So.
Okay, that's great. So speaking of meetings, as we just broached that subject, so there were meetings that were in the evenings. They've been put back to put back to days. What are your thoughts on when council meetings should be held? Like general council meetings that are for the general council meetings or committees of the whole.
I think council meetings for sure need to be at a time when most of the general public can come to them. Moving into 2 o'clock, I've had to take days off work, and so they need to be done that in the summertime. I would say at least one meeting should be held, either on a Friday night or possibly on a Saturday or something, so that because most of our residents, only come up on the weekends in the summer, and they need a chance to have their voice heard too.
All right, we can move on to sort of the governance area. What are your experience with process and bylaws and how things get done in a municipal government?
Again, just over the past 4 years, I've been going to meetings, paying more attention. Not a whole lot, but I'm striving to learn more. I've been taking some of the AMO courses to prepare myself for the election and everything. So.
All right, that's great. So council meetings and schedules guide how the public interacts with them. How would you balance accessibility, transparency, and decision making?
So over the past 4 years, we've seen a steady decline in the public's ability to address council and to get their voices heard. We need to bring that back through town halls, open deputations, less restrictive rules on what the public can do and say at council meetings.
So this brings up a topic that I find myself interesting. Tiny's moving to an online sort of mail-in voting system for this election, which again brought up its own controversies, as the World Wide Web has told us. So
Yes.
now that it's here and we're moving forward, is this something you think could be engaged in future for decision making via the public, saying, do we want a referendum, or to get, I mean, to get thoughts on what people are thinking of how the government's doing, or if there's extenuating circumstances of a bill, sort of perhaps like the big build, or whatever we're calling that now. Would you employ a system like that to get input from the public, or what are your thoughts on that in general?
That's a tricky one. I mean, yes, we need to embrace technology, but the current population of Tiny is 45% seniors and growing, and the ones I've talked to are not too happy about the fact that they can't go place a vote. They may not have a lot of Tiny still doesn't have the internet access for these kinds of things. So there needs to be, like I said, regular town halls where people can actually go and physically speak to their counselor and voice their concerns. Yes, we need to embrace technology and we could utilize that, but there still has to be a physical place for people to go and talk to someone, because some people just don't want to do it the other way.
So, what are your thoughts on referendums for large ticket items? It's been suggested, or major decisions, or perhaps something outside of the platform that the candidates have run on.
Yeah, absolutely. Large scale, anything major needs to be decided by the people of the township, and in a referendum or a vote or whatever, town halls. We can't just have 5 people making the decisions for everybody. It's obviously not working.
And the topic is always at the heart of everything here in Tiny is fiscal responsibility. What are your thoughts on going forward, and how do we ensure that we're not leveraging ourselves for the future?
Yeah. So we need to start with a line by line item review of everything in the budget, see where there's savings that can be made. We need to, depending on what the people say, we need to decide what and where we're going to do with the build. Do we pause it? Do we repurpose some of the building? There's over 17,000 square feet of extra space that probably isn't needed. Maybe we can repurpose it and try and mitigate our losses on that. Yeah, we need to get back to fiscal responsibility, focusing on our core services and not wasteful spending on Taj Mahals and whatever.
Okay. So obviously we love our environment in Tiny. It's something that draws everyone up here. Most of the time, why do you move to Tiny? Because it's so beautiful. So how do we ensure that we keep the beauty of Tiny, but also allow more people to come? Or maybe we don't want more people coming, but there's growing the tax base. You either increase taxes, you increase taxpayers, or there's more economic development, such as companies moving in. So as cost goes up, either taxes have to go up, we have to get more people paying taxes, or we get companies. So what are your thoughts on how the environment interacts with that, and what are some safeguards, if you will, or just what are your thoughts?
There's plenty of environmental regulations in place already. I don't think we need to be adding new bylaws and punitive things to make things harder. As long as we follow the existing ones, there's opportunities to not only bring in more people, but also investment opportunities I'm sure we could find.
Okay. And so, along the lines of economic development, people have said that the airport is underutilized, and it, there are some companies there that are actually thriving, which is nice to see. And um, as more people are able to work from home, we don't need these big, massive buildings anymore. So, what are your thoughts on economic development, businesses, or that type of thing coming into Tiny? We generally have shied away from that.
Hmm. Yeah. So with the airport lands, absolutely, we could look at bringing in innovation, some kind of innovation hub or business park possibly. Um, there's lots of opportunities. There's the government just gave like millions and millions of dollars to Lakehead and Georgian College. We could put a camp, maybe a campus there or something. There's tons of opportunities, you know.
That's awesome. Yeah. And this is kind of close to my heart. How do we keep our kids here? Like, um, obviously, economic viability, there has to be some place for them to work. But right now, to buy a house in Tiny isn't the most economic
Mhm.
for a new buyer, or even someone at their second house. Like the prices are pretty high. So, what are your thoughts? Is that the way we want it, or is there another way of doing it? What are your thoughts on that?
There's lots of opportunities. I personally I live in a multi-generational home. Again, with our aging senior population, parents, granny suites, kids can move in with the parents. The way to do that, I think, is we need to get rid of some of the restrictive regulations on building those things, allow people to build a multi-generational home so that our parents can age in place gracefully and our children can get into the housing market.
There's also been some talk about making Tiny a destination for retirement living, or
Mhm.
where people retire as opposed to a growth where people go to work and live. It's where they retire. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts on that?
Um, well, like I said, we're currently at around 45%. It's projected to grow in the senior population. I think that's one of the things we could look at with the new build. Like I said, there's 17,000 square feet of unneeded space right now. Um, our seniors are currently forced to drive to Barrie or Aurelia for uh, medical things, and so maybe we could look at something like that. Also, with some of our excess lands, maybe we could look at senior centers or whatever. But yeah, anything to help the seniors not have to travel to appointments and things would be a great.
Okay, that's really everything I have. Do you want to take the next few minutes just to hash over anything you want, or say why to vote for you? I'm sure there's many reasons we should vote for you if you want to lay them out.
Um, well, I mean, we pretty much we talked about most of the things. Like I said, it's just it's a let's get back to basics is kind of my core thing. Stop the spending. Let's reduce taxes, look after our families, and just bring Tiny back to the way it used to be.
Okay, great. Well, I really appreciate you coming on with us today, and I wish you all the best in the future and good luck in the election. And thanks again.
All right. Thank you, Steve.
Goodbye.